Listen carefully, because if this document had been discovered even 10 years earlier, it would have been seized before sunrise. For 75 years, a forgotten military letter, a missing scientist, and a sealed underground chamber in the mountains of Colorado have remained disconnected pieces of a puzzle no one was ever supposed to solve. Everything you're about to read is true. Every date, every location, every person. Only the conclusions remain unproven. And that is exactly why the government still refuses to comment.
The story begins in January 1949, during one of the coldest winters recorded in the Rocky Mountains. Deep inside the restricted sector of Fort Garland, an old military base that had quietly shifted operations after World War II, strange activity was reported by nearby residents, activity that no official record ever acknowledged. At exactly 2:17 a.m. on January 12, rancher William Hawthorne saw a column of blue light shoot upward from the hills behind the base, illuminating the sky for 5 full seconds. The next morning, military police visited every home within a 5-mile radius, instructing locals to forget what they saw. But William didn't forget. And because of him, the truth we now know began to unravel. The missing scientist. 2 weeks earlier, Dr. Leonard K. Aldrich, a physicist who had worked on the periphery of the Manhattan Project, had gone missing. His last message to his sister read, "If anything happens to me, check the blueprints in the cedar box. Do not trust the officials. They're not telling you what we're actually building." The cedar box was never found, but Dr. Aldrich's disappearance triggered a silent internal investigation within the Department of Defense, because Aldrich had been assigned to something called Project Echo 7, a project that, according to the only surviving document, was categorized as temporal field research. Yes, temporal, as in time. Fort Garland had officially shut down in 1946, but satellite photos from the 1960s revealed new construction, buried entrances, and heat signatures indicating active underground facilities. When researchers submitted FOIA requests, they received identical responses. No records found. This installation is not operational. The requested materials have been destroyed. Yet multiple testimonies from former Air Force engineers, 3 in total, all collected between 1978 and 1994, described the same thing: an underground complex known as Site 12B, located a mile beneath the mountains, where an experiment was being prepared that required more power than any American facility had ever used outside of nuclear testing. They weren't building a weapon, they were building a gateway. The accident they couldn't hide. On February 4th, 1949, an unexplainable earthquake shook the area around the base. Magnitude 4.8. Epicenter directly under Site 12B. Yet Colorado geological records for that date were edited in 1952, replacing the event with a fabricated report of a minor rock collapse. But the true seismic readings survived in a private university archive, untouched and forgotten. They showed a blast pattern that didn't look like an earthquake. It looked like an implosion. Something collapsed inward, violently.
In 1973, a retired communications officer named Robert Mallon broke a 24-year silence. He claimed he was stationed at Fort Garland the night the experiment failed. His declassified testimony, released in 2009, states, "We were told the device would open a stabilized field for exactly 9 seconds, but the readings went off the scale before they even activated it. Then the alarms. Every alarm went red." He described a sound like metal being stretched, followed by screaming from the chamber below. Then came the collapse. Mallon stated that 23 personnel were inside the chamber. None came out. He also mentioned something else, something he regretted saying even in the interview. There was light coming from places that shouldn't have light. In 1998, urban explorers discovered a welded shut steel door deep inside an abandoned tunnel branched from the old base. The door held a faded stenciled warning: Level 4, restricted. Absolutely no entry. A year later, the entire tunnel system was quietly demolished by private contractors. All entrances were filled with concrete. But before demolition, one of the explorers retrieved a fragment of metal paneling behind the welded door. That panel was later tested. Its alloy composition did not match any U.S. military material used in 1949. In fact, it didn't match anything officially documented until 1987, 40 years ahead of its time.
The most shocking discovery came in 2016, when a historian in Pueblo, Colorado, purchased a collection of old estate papers. Inside was an envelope labeled "Aldrich, do not release." Inside that envelope was a diagram, a blueprint. It was stamped Project Echo 7, Temporal Gate Assembly, August 2, 1948, property of United States Army Engineering Corps. But the blueprint included features that did not exist in 1948 technology: supercooled magnetic containment coils, a power coupling rated far beyond 1940s generators, a notation referencing phase shift calibration. Most suspiciously, a hand-written warning at the bottom read, "Alignment must remain above 94%. If field collapses inward, event will be irreversible." The signature at the bottom matched that of Dr. Leonard Aldrich, meaning he completed the design just months before disappearing. In 2021, a geologist scanning the area around the old base detected a hollow cavity almost 300 feet wide beneath the mountain, perfectly spherical. No natural formation on Earth is that perfect. When ground-penetrating radar was used, the image showed something horrifying. The cavity wasn't empty. There was an object in the center, something metallic, something large, and something still giving off a faint electromagnetic signal. After this discovery, the U.S. National Park Service abruptly restricted access to the entire region for environmental protection. They offered no explanation.
Based on everything found, the testimonies, the seismic records, the blueprint, the sealed chamber, investigators now believe the U.S. military attempted to open a controlled temporal field in 1949, decades before such technology should have existed, and something went wrong. The implosion collapsed the field. The chamber sealed itself. The base went silent. And whatever remains inside that underground sphere is still active, still humming, still waiting. If Dr. Aldrich's original cedar box is ever found, it may contain the missing piece, the part of the experiment no one wants the public to see. Until then, the truth remains buried beneath Colorado rock, protected by silence and steel. But make no mistake, the experiment happened. The chamber exists, and the signal is still there. The only question left is,
What exactly did they open? And why, after 75 years, has the U.S. government still refused to dig it up?